Doha. We've all heard about it, the capital of Qatar and the host of the recent FIFA World Cup, and one of the most wealthy and progressive cities in the world. But is it all superficial, and what can you really expect when you're here for the first time as a tourist? Join me on a weekend in Doha as I share my guide and honest review to steer you in the right direction for your next trip. Doha is not what I expected, and safe to say you'll be surprised too. Let's start our day on the Corniche, the capital's jaw-dropping 7-kilometer waterfront promenade with the most Instagram-worthy views. What's amazing about walking along the Corniche is the view that you're gonna get of the city right opposite. It is so special to be looking out on something that was built in the last few decades virtually. That's partly what Doha and Qatar excels at. It's setting that vision for the next 20, 30, 40 years and really achieving it to the last minute detail. Well, when you're walking along the Corniche, it's not all just admiration for the beautiful skyline of modern Doha. It's also this. Look, there's a bunch of traditional wooden boats, and I have to say that stark contrast between the foreground and the background over here is a pretty cool sight. And not only that, there's also a mosque right over there. So look at that. You get the three sides of Doha all in one in this spot. You've got religion and tradition, historical, traditional wooden boats that have been made for hundreds of years. And then way back over there is super ultra modern and futuristic Doha. I think one of the more pressing questions that female tourists have when they come here, aside from safety, which I can confirm is very safe by the way, that question would be how conservative is Doha? How much do you need to worry about things like covering your knees, covering your shoulders? At the beginning of the day I was without my cardigan and I walked around and I sort of saw the reactions from other people, and let's just say that yes, it is better to go out with your shoulders covered, possibly your knees covered, although I have seen a few people wearing long shorts. I did get a few looks. They weren't mean looks, but just like surprised basically, mostly from men, not gonna lie. I would still strongly recommend to follow those guidelines just as a sign of respect. Very early on in the day, I realized that it's pretty impossible to cross between roads here because you're kind of in the middle of highways. You need to use underground passageways. Have a look out for stairs that go down. There are underground passageways every 5 to 7 minutes or so. Time to do some shopping. Come to a parking zone. The underground system that I described is so easy. It's not as easy in reality. It says Souq. I'll probably have to take another lift, so stand by. Made it to the Souq. Honestly, first impressions are I expected it to be very touristy, but there's a lot of locals around as well. And obviously this is not something that they've taken the effort of modernizing, which is kind of cool because it feels authentic still. I think the last Souq that I went to was in Dubai, which is a video you can see right here. This one I feel might be a little bit different. Not sure why, it just gives me a feeling that it might be geared towards locals more than towards tourists, but let's go in and see. So cute and tiny. I don't know if you guys know this, but I actually used to have a bunny rabbit when I was little, and his ears flopped all the way down. Wish I could take all of them. Not sure I like this part of the Souq. I would much rather see like herbs and spices, I guess. I really do like all of these colorful benches outside of the Souq, but if you're asking yourself, is it worth seeing the Souq? Should you spend time and really go around it and see what's available for sale there? My personal piece of advice to you would probably be that your time is better spent exploring the rest of Doha. So I kind of wish that I had gone straight into the downtown area, which is where I'm heading right now, and explored more of the infrastructure and the architecture there. The world's smallest escalator. Bye!
the downtown area in Doha unexpectedly left a big impression on me. And if you've been enjoying this video so far and want more travel content, please feel free to hit the subscribe button down below.
This place is like a little universe condensed into something that's in the center of Doha without you ever knowing, unless you explicitly go there. It's kind of surreal if you think about it, because all of this was constructed with a $5 billion, that's right, you heard me right, $5 billion budget quite recently, and they've done so much to promote eco-friendliness, to promote a green lifestyle. For example, you won't see a single trash bin because all of the trash disposal system is underground. They've promoted indoor-outdoor living. They've promoted a sustainable approach to people walking instead of using their cars. As you can see, it's fully pedestrian. This, for me, is what a city should be about, to be honest. And I'm just really shocked because this is not what I expected from Doha. I expected something that was a lot more backwards and a lot less futuristic, but this for me is probably what cities are going to look like from now 20, 30, 40 years ahead. Not a single scrap of dirt, not a single chewing gum, cigarette butt, everything else that you see in Europe on the streets laying around here. You're not gonna find that. How they do it is beyond me, but they've managed. So yeah, I think that's something that'll definitely take you by surprise when you come here, in a good way. I'm gonna test out the local metro system. Only gonna go a few stops to reach the National Museum, which I think is worth seeing. But is the metro worth taking? We're yet to find out. The grand reveal of Doha Metro. This is pretty simple. There's only 3 lines to take. We are, where are we now? Oops. Where are we? Take 2. I'm right here. Going right here. So only 2 stops, but that'll get you straight to the National Museum, which, judging by the photos I saw, is pretty spectacular. Even the metro is so clean, it's actually disgusting how clean it is. I could lick these floors. Got my ticket. That was about $2 for a day pass, so actually not that expensive at all. Oh my gosh. Okay, excuse me, where am I? This is like one of those super luxurious first-class airport trains, and like the nicest airports. In Europe, you would have to pay big monies for trains like this. Now that I've got an empty train, let's do a little bit of a tour, because something like this you're definitely not gonna see where I'm from. Like in Europe, if we say we have to go on a subway, it's something that you really don't want to do. You're gonna be elbowed by people, it's gonna be dirty, you know, you're gonna have to wait ages for a train, you're gonna be uncomfortable. But look, this is luxury. Look at these seats. They're so plush. You have all the space you need. You've got these handles. Look at this. This is leather, by the way. Absolutely insane. Okay, so we're approaching the National Museum now. So time to get out. Let's see if the station is as spectacular as the train. Okay, so that may have been the VIP carriage, but it's still amazing. Don't tell anyone. Lo and behold, the National Museum. This was constructed by the same architect who actually designed the Louvre in Abu Dhabi. It is spectacular in so many ways. Inside, once again, it takes the same concept as we saw downtown, which is indoor, outdoor. The spaces that bring air inside of the buildings are seen throughout. It's very much nature coming into architecture, so I'm really excited to go in and see that. Yeah, I'm impressed.
I headed out just on time for a beautiful sunset and a night drive through Doha. And before I knew it, it was time to greet another day full of surprises.
Good morning. Today I am starting my day with exploring the cultural village, followed by the Qanat quarters. Just got an Uber, it's just arrived now. By the way, taxis here are really easy to get, and there's an app called Qarwa and Uber as well. Thank you so much. So I'm just getting in right now, and off we go. So I've explicitly come early in the morning while there's still no one. I do think that this place gets pretty busy and crowded towards the afternoon and definitely in the evening. I can imagine when this is a little bit busier, it definitely adds more life to it. Where I'm going now though is the mosque, and I do think you guys are gonna enjoy this. It's supposed to be really beautiful. Okay, so you come in and there's the men's section and the women's section. And if you come in from the women's section, you actually have to put on an abaya.
So we pray here shoulder to shoulder. We Muslims have 5 times drill, because you might be knowing that Muslims pray 5 times a day. This masjid has been designed by a Turkish woman. Only one thing that is common in every masjid is that you won't find any statues or any images. Nothing. But the decor or the decoration or aesthetics or all these things might differ.
Alright, well, first impressions are on the outside it's probably more spectacular than on the inside, but that doesn't change the fact that you should still see both outside and inside just to have a better picture overall. I do like the fact that you have to respect the traditional dress code when you walk in here. That's actually the case in most mosques around the Middle East. It's not like they impose their values on you, but they're definitely there, and people are happy, people are calm, the energy is a lot more peaceful than someplace like Dubai. And honestly, if I had a choice of where to live between here and Dubai, I would probably choose here. I know that opinion might be an unpopular one. That's just my personal feeling that I get from this place. While I wait for my Uber to go to the next stop, I just wanted to talk to you guys about traveling here as a single female, because today I did go out without my cameraman and the experience was slightly different in the sense that I did get a lot more male attention, be it looks or car windows being rolled down and men yelling, "You're very beautiful!" Or at the mosque I was asked if there was a man with me or if I was alone. So just stuff like that. You know, it's not in any way invasive or aggressive, but just keep that in mind that the intention is good, they just mean to compliment you, but you will probably get that if you are a single female traveler, even if you are all covered up as I've done today. But it is perfectly safe, and that's definitely what I felt here. Not once did I feel that I can't go out with my belongings on show. I've worn all my jewelry. Even in crowded spaces, I felt like I can be myself and that I don't constantly have to be on guard, which is definitely a very good thing.
And if you're still looking for the perfect Instagram shot in Doha, I've got just the place for you.
I have come to the Qanat quarter. This is about a 7-minute drive away from the cultural village, and this area is mostly known for water shows during the FIFA World Cup, daily water shows at that. And now it's just a colorful place to walk around with a bunch of places to chill, a bunch of places to eat. I feel you can just spend hours wandering around here. Obviously it was built inspired by Venice. Now, is this all superficial? Probably in a way it is, but coming here you have to expect man-made beauty as opposed to natural beauty, and it was partly made to entertain people during the World Cup, and now it remains as this wonderful oasis that both locals and tourists can come to. Speaking of locals and tourists, I seem to be the only person here once again, but it is still early. It's around 10:30 in the morning, so I think Qatar might be one of those places that wakes up later, especially because Friday is a weekend here. It's not like in Europe where Saturdays and Sundays are holidays. In the Middle East, it's Fridays and Saturdays. So Friday being today, I think everyone else is still asleep.
Looking out onto the perfectly constructed canals and admiring the city on my way to the airport made me realize that everything in Qatar is intentional and perfectly balanced. including my last surprise in Doha.
Well, even though it looks like I'm in a dense jungle, I am actually inside Doha Airport, which has been the last amazing surprise to my already wonderful stay here. Doha has surprised me in so many different ways, and if you've enjoyed this video and if you also fell in love with Doha and have been slightly shocked at some of the things that you've seen in this video, head over to this one next, which I guarantee is another place that you will absolutely love in the Middle East.